Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to yet another session of Quran for All. Let's start with ayah number 19 of Surah Baqarah, inshallah. So the verse now we are continuing with our example. In the previous verses we saw the first example. Now also subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a second example of these people. So it is saying that it starts with aw or aw kasayyibin ka, as we saw in the previous verse, is like. Sayyib is a dark cloud or like or really heavy rain, like a rainstorm. So sayyib is a rainstorm, min from as-sama'i, the sky, fihi in it, fi plus the pronoun who, fihi in it, zulumatin are darknesses. We've done this word before in the previous verse, a plural. Zulumat, darknesses, several levels of darkness. Wara'adu and thunder. Ra'd is thunder. Wabarkun and lightning. Barkun, lightning. Yaj'aluna, they put, again the ya and the una sound at the end, so they put. Asabi'ahum, here asabi'a is fingers, hum their, so asabi'ahum their fingers, fi in adhanihim, adhan plural for udhun, which is ears, adhani ears, hum damir pronoun their, adhanihim their ears, min from Sawa'iqi, from the thunderclaps, the sound that the thunder makes, the really loud sounds when there is thunder and lightning. Sometimes the sound is kind of like a roar, and but sometimes it's kind of like an explosion. So sawa'iqi here means the sound that's like an explosion, a very loud sound. Hadara in fear of, hadara in fear of, al mauti the death, maut death, wallahu and Allah, muhitun, muhitun the one who encompasses. Muhit comes from root letters ha, waw, and to, which is to encompass or engulf, to to encircle from all sides. So muhitun is the one who encompasses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who encompasses bil kafirin, the disbelievers. Allah is the one who encompasses the disbelievers. So let's look at what this verse is now telling us. The second example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us is Allah tells us that this or it is like a rainstorm, a really dark clouds with heavy rain from the sky, minas samai, from the sky, fi zulumatin, in which there are multiple shades, multiple levels, layers of darknesses, waradu, and there is thunder and bark, and there's lightning. And now these people, the hypocrites, right, they put their fingers in their ears. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in this now, this in this example, it is showing us the other side of the coin. It's showing us the intensity of the, it's talking about the intensity of the Quran. Things in the Quran that, that are a bit scary and, that are strongly worded or, that are intense. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling scary things just like a rainstorm with thunder and lightning and loud sounds is scary. This is that side of the revelation that talks about punishment and hellfire and warnings. It's scary, it's intense, just like a thunderstorm. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us now the hypocrites, when they hear about this, when they hear about all these warnings, and they know in their heart that these things are somewhere, they know that these three things are true, but they want to ignore it. They want to just it's so depressing for them that they rather not hear it, so they try to block it out by putting their fingers in their ears. Fi asabi'ihim, sorry, يَجْعَلُونَ أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. They put their fingers in their ears to try and drown out the sound. مِنَ السَّوَائِقِ, out of due to the thunderclaps, due to the loud explosive sound that's happening, like the one would in a rainstorm, in a thunderstorm. Hadar al maut, in out of fear of death. Hadara is when one has, one is cautious and careful, like kind of treading around carefully in fear that, anytime someone would attack them. That's hadar, to be very careful and cautious, and just walking very uh, with a quiet footing, just carefully looking around in constant fear that someone is going to attack them. So they're in this fear that they're going to die anytime. Death is going to come upon them anytime. Wallahi muhitum bil kafirin. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completely surrounded the kafirin. So here you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still talking about the hypocrites. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is no more using the word a munafiq for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, outrightly calling them kafir, because Allah knows what's in their hearts. Allah knows that they were never believers and they were never committed to guidance, and they can't escape now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, has completely has them surrounded. Let's look at the next verse. So the next verse tells us yakadu almost. Al-barqu, this word we saw in the previous verse, lightning. The lightning, yakhtafu, snatches away. Yakhtafu, kha, ta, and fa. It snatches away absorahum, their sight. Like when there is really bright light and you're blinded for, for some time. Kullama, every time, ado, it lights up. We saw this word like dawun. It lights up, it illuminates. Lahum, for them. Mashaw, they walk. Fihi, in it. Wa'ida, and when. Azlama, it darkens, it becomes dark again. Alayhim, on them. Qamu, they stand still. Qamu, they stand still. So the verse continues. Walau, and if. Wa, and. Law is used for if. And if. Sha'Allahu, Allah had willed. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had wanted. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had wished so. La zahaba, he would certainly have taken away. Zahaba is to take away. The lam here is for emphasis, which means most certainly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have most certainly, if Allah wanted to, He would have certainly taken away bisam'ihim, their hearing, wa absarihim, and their sight. Inna Allah, inna, indeed, Allah, Allah is one, kulli, every, shay'in, thing, qadirun, all powerful. Allah is the most powerful upon everything. So now this verse is concluding this example and telling us that the lightning almost snatches away their sight. Like it's so bright, it's like it's like they're almost blinded for some time. يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم, almost snatched away their sight. كلما أضاء لهم مشوا فيه, and when the lightning, every time there's a lightning, there's a little bit of light, right? You can see a little bit in that light, in the light of the lightning. So these people, they walk, it was like they walk a few steps whenever it lights up. So, and and again when it is dark again, they stand still. So this person, it's in this rainstorm, and it's raining, and there's thunder, and there's lightning, and it's dark all around, layers and layers of darkness. But every time there is a slight, there's lightning and there's a little bit of light, they walk a few steps. And and then again when it becomes dark, they stand still. So these are people who are very unsure about themselves. It's talking about people who are unsure, who sit on the fence, right? And they walk a few steps, and then they come back, or they stand still, and then again they walk a few steps. So, and about the hypocrites, it was not like, they did not follow the revelation at all. The kafirun, the disbelievers, they outrightly denied it. But the munafiq, the hypocrites, whenever it suited them, whenever it was in their favor, they followed those things. And we see this in today's day and age, that people go for, like, you can say fatwa shopping. People choose and pick and choose what they wish to follow and what they wish to not follow. What's convenient for them, they're okay with that. And whenever they're a little uncomfortable about things, they immediately start denying and those things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about such people here, that when there's light, they walk a few steps, but when it is dark again, they stand still. And so, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had wanted, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had, wished it for, لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ, He would have certainly taken away their hearing, right? He would have certainly taken away their hearing. What did we learn in the previous verse? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did take away their sight and their hearing. Summun bukmun umyun. They were wandering deaf. They were already deaf, dumb, and blind. But here now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that if Allah wanted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have taken away their sight and their hearing. So if Allah has not taken it away, they still have a chance here. And there is an implication here that maybe it's not too late for some people. For some, they still have got a chance to get their act together, and come back to the guidance, come back to the light. And so the people who were already someone bukmun umyun, they were already deaf and blind, and they were dumb. They had no hope. They had no hope of returning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly stated, la yarji'un, they are not going to return. But for these people, Allah is still saying that there's still a chance. Allah has not yet taken away their sight and hearing completely. So if it is, in case, like, in today's day and age, if we apply this to our life, and in case some of us have wandered off from the light of guidance, wandered off far off from the light of guidance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us hope here, that maybe some of us still have the ability to come back. There's always a chance that you can come back, and come back to the guidance. So it also serves as a warning that that we try and come back to the guidance, you know, as long as there is time, while there is still time for us, while it's not too late for us. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not make us from those who were deaf, dumb, and blinded, and got straight. They just had thrown away far, far away this from the guidance. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to come back to the right path while there is still time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.